Welcome back to another 6K Sports Sedan Challenge presented by Continental Tire, where today we're finishing this build. Or at least our plan is to finish this build today, but that's all going to depend on FedEx. It always comes down to FedEx, doesn't it, PT? The elbow from Violate should have been here yesterday. It's not yet, and I just checked online and it's showing it in Tennessee of all places, and it says no delivery date available because of some kind of a storm they're having down there. So I don't know if it's going to be like a day or two or it's going to be a week or two. We're kind of at their mercy right now, but assuming it shows up in the next few days, you will see that get installed and you'll see us build that intake to finish this whole setup. And once that's in there, I mean, we are pretty much wrapped as far as the mechanical side of it. However, we do have some electronic stuff coming your way from Quantum Auto. They're based out in California and they're partners with All for Swap. And ULS guys will probably know of them because they do offer ECU tuning services. So they take the factory ECU and they can actually modify them to do some fun stuff, including, in this case, this is just a stock ECU with what they call dyno mode enabled. So we'll be able to make a full pull in ECT power mode in fourth gear without it wanting to downshift into third. So if you saw our episode where we were on the dyno, it was really tough to keep it in fourth gear. This will allow us to do that, but the programming is otherwise completely stock. So this will give us like a good true baseline. And then we'll swap in this bad boy, which as you can see was custom made for us. And as the word supercharged here implies, this actually has the Tom's Supercharger tune on it. However, it's been slightly modified because the Tom's Supercharger uses a smaller supercharger than ours. It uses what's basically an M90. This is an M112. So they've taken a bit of timing out at peak torque, maybe add a little bit of fuel. I don't know exactly what they've done. That's their secret, but they think this is going to be really close to what we need, and we're going to find out on the dyno. So that's pretty exciting. Just swap those in there, and we should have what is a very close, if not a perfect fit for this setup. So stay tuned for that in the dyno episode, which will be coming soon. And in the meantime, we're gonna take care of a few housekeeping things. As you would have seen when we fired this car up the first time, we did seem to have a slight misalignment issue with the belt on this smooth pulley that we added. And we now know the issue, so we're gonna show you how to fix that. Turns out there's a little tube spigoty thing in here that spaces the OE pulley out to where it needs to be, but we need to delete that so that the smooth pulley is in the right position. That's our offending culprit. So we'll slap the smooth pulley back right onto, the flush face of that bolt location, and we'll be in business. As you can see, that pulley is in perfect alignment now with the rest of the system. Belt's sitting on it nicely, so we are good to go there, which means it's time to move on to the most important job from the comment section of the startup video. Clean the throttle body, dude. Clean the throttle body. Here's the throttle body that aggressive viewer John Geeson put in all caps, clean the throttle body with the extra aggressive exclamation mark. And frankly, have a look in there. It's a little dirty.
Oh, it's filthy.
It's a little dirty around the edges,
oh my
but
goodness,
look at all the clean aluminum around the sides. And on the back side, yes, it's a little oily on the top and the bottom, but on the sides it's still this is actually one of the cleanest throttle bodies I've ever seen come off a car with 130,000 miles on it. So if you want to see some dirty throttle bodies, as a matter of fact, go back and watch when we took the throttle bodies off of Pete's M5 motor. There you'll see some oil and some dirt. So, but because you were so aggressive, John, I took this off the car and I am going to clean it with some brake cleaner just for you, buddy. All right, John, all caps, Geeson, this better be up to your standards, buddy.
Wow, that's pretty clean, DP. You probably gained probably according to John, 10 horsepower, fixed our idle issue.
Don't even need to tune the ECU anymore, man. This thing is so clean. I think it's good to go for life. And man, I also have really clean hands now from using all that brake clean. All right, it's time to give this thing a full fluid change and top up our coolant, because we had that top coolant hose off, which means we need to top the system back up again. And we also had those heater lines off, didn't we, Pete? Which are very high in the system. And that's where this Lyle spill-free setup is going to come in really handy, because we'll be able to fill this up nice and high. It will be the high point in the coolant system, even higher than those very high heater hoses back there. And that way we don't have to try to bleed them back there through a very messy procedure. So
You gonna spill this?
No, man. Even I can't spill this.
You've got a big open funnel there.
I think we're
really
good.
nice.
I think we're good. And
you know what we should point out about what I really like about this tool is it's got that little plug afterwards that you can put in.
yeah,
So even when you are too high, you can plug it and it's not going to spill a boatload of fluid all over your rad.
yeah. And I should mention, by the way, we are of course using Xerox by Valvoline. We put this stuff in all of our engines, and this one is obviously for Japanese cars. Time for everyone's favorite part of the video. How much of a mess will DP make? And whoever tightened that, whew. I think this thing saw its last service at some Jiffy Lube where the guy in the pit was a rageaholic because that thing is tight. Almost feels cross-threaded, to be honest. Let's look away. You know what's nice about this car, PT, though? Doesn't stress me out that might be cross-threaded. I just don't care that much. This is a 6K car.
Until all your oil leaks out on our drag race?
Well, you on the other hand have built this like amazing, pristine car with a refreshed engine and an engine bay that looks brand new. Like you've gone too far. You've taken the fun out of it by making it too nice. I want to abuse this thing and not feel guilty about it. Another example of Toyota's superior engineering, Peter. They put a flap here so I can get up my oil filter real easily. Just 210 mils away.
My oil filter's on top. I don't need to even open a flap.
Well, yeah, but yours makes a huge mess in the engine bay up there. Look at how clean this is going to be. And you're going to be really impressed by the previous owner's filter choice. You got two choices, everyone. Is it going to be a Toyota filter or it's going to be like a bargain basement super cheapy? But no, he loved his Lexus, everyone. He loved his Lexus. He went OE. However, I love my Lexus even more, and that means I'm going to go up in quality. Can I say that? I mean, OE is supposed to be the ultimate, but we're going to go to a K&N filter because we run K&Ns on pretty much all our cars, don't we, Pete? They are an exceptionally good oil filter.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Watch this precision pour. I know my record's not great, but I can just dribble it in there if I want. I can pour it like maple syrup. I got total control with this easy pour spout.
Because you got that funnel there, DP.
The funnel does help, and as you guys can see, I'm using Valvoline's full synthetic high mileage designed for engines over 75,000 miles, and it has their max life technology in it, which offers 40% better wear protection than industry standard. So this stuff is going to keep my 3UZ alive so long I'll never even have to think about replacing bearings. Peter, how do you feel about that? We were thinking of changing the fluid in the transmission, and then I started to do a little research, and this car actually has what they call a sealed transmission. The fluid's supposed to be good for the life of the vehicle, which I find to be
sounds like a BMW.
Bizarre. I did a little research on how to DIY the fluid change in this type of setup, and it's not a good story. And since the tranny was working perfectly well, I don't want to poke the bear. So we're just going to leave this alone. And if we see any kind of issues with shift quality or whatever, well, then I'll take it to the dealership and have them do it because they probably have the right tools to do this job properly. So we're going to skip that for now, but we are going to change the diff fluid. So we have us a bit of a rusty drain here, but she came loose and the rust actually looks worse than it is. It's all just surface rust. Here we go. Huh. Oh, because I didn't take the fill plug out. It's sort of glugging instead of coming out of there nice and smooth. But it actually looks surprisingly clean, doesn't it? Just drained the diff, and the fluid in there looked remarkably good because I guess people don't drive their LS430s that hard, do they, PT?
Oh.
In any case, we're filling up with the good stuff. Some Valvoline 75W90 full synthetic, and it takes 1.3 quarts, and we've thrown it in my Austin Powers Swedish pump here, so let's fill her up. It's pouring out the back.
Oh boy.
I've never had to do that before. I guess I need to hold it like this. Slight malfunction with my Swedish pump, everyone, and that happens when you use your Swedish pump as much as I do. You can see it's oozing at the top here. Not an ideal.
You forgot to open up the valve there.
Well,
that's why,
I didn't forget
you know.
to open it. It was kind of jammed up. So again, that was user error. I'll take responsibility for it. Let's see if I can get this in the hole without making a huge mess. Actually, I'm gonna close this because otherwise it's gonna make a huge freaking mess. All right, let's try this again. Let's go, fluid. Go in your home, fluid.
You know, we have this thing called a motive
I know.
pump,
I'm regretting it already because now I'm
but
in
you
like
decided to use this thing
full
and
overhead flex mode here. I'm gonna blow to shoulder. Not as young as I used to be, PT. I don't get to use the pump that much anymore.
It's dripping all
Oh
over
my
here.
God, it's a mess. Well, that turned out to be a bigger mess than I remembered it being. So one lightly used Swedish pump for sale, everyone, because next time I'm just going with the mode of, what's it called, the power fill unit. Pressurized air forces the fluid in there. There's no mess, there's no fuss, there's no drama. But there's also no Austin Power jokes. So, you know, there's a bit of give and take here. But if you want to make me an offer on this, you know where to find me. Unlike some people here at Speed Academy, I'm not going to fully disassemble this car to make the subframe look new again. I'm just going to cover up the rust and prevent future rust from forming by using Fluid Film's new black formula. As the name would imply, it comes out black rather than like that butterscotchy color that it normally is. But it's the same great product. It goes on, it's non-solvent based, it's lanolin based, and it goes on wet and it stays wet. So it never dries and falls off. It just stays on there forever. You can stick it into cavities and stuff too. And it's also a really good penetrant if you're trying to get, say, rusty nuts and bolts off. You can use it on a million different things. Like on the bottle, they list everything from like snow blowers to weed whackers. You can use it, oh, it's also really good at preventing things from icing up. So you can use it in locks, whether they're on a car or your door at home. So very versatile product. So let's see how the black looks on these rusty bits here, PT. Look at that, everyone. It looks brand new already.
It's like you're giving it a paint job.
I am. This is the ultimate cure for rust because it's covering it up and not allowing it to spread anymore. So I'm loving it. Wow, it already looks like a new car back here.
It's kind of crazy, man.
It's the rust. It's really amazing and super satisfying in a minute or two how much better the car looks and knowing that it's going to prevent rust from creeping any further than it is. And really, this is all just very light surface rust, but it's still nice to coat it up, protect it, because I like this car. I like it a whole bunch. We've literally got one job left before we got to move on to building that intake system, and that is the factory amplifier, which we think was giving us problems because the audio system was intermittently cutting out or working and then not working. And I did a little Googling on it, and from what I read, this is a very common thing to fail in these cars, and the symptoms I was having was exactly what others had when these failed on them. So I jumped onto, I think it was just carpart.com, found a guy with a wrecking yard in Miami with one of these in stock, that he said he had tested and was still working. So I had my buddy Lander, who lives down in Miami, go and pick it up from him and pay him and ship it up to me rather than like dealing with a salvage yard in Miami. You don't know how things are going to go down. So it's nice to have a buddy to go and do that. So thank you very much for that, Lander. You're my hero. And now's the time to find out if the dude in Miami is my hero or not too, because we're going to plug this in and see if we got music or not. Amp is plugged in, and look what else I found in the trunk here, PT. It's hidden away in a little cubby back there.
Oh, a tool set.
Woo! And it looks pristine, unlike BMW ones, which are always missing half the tools, and they look like they've been used to rebuild the engine at the side of the road. This setup looks brand new, including this little flashlight, so I can check to see if my dentures have fallen out.
I think what's going on here is the Japanese decided that they wanted to copy all things German, because I'm starting to sense a theme. There are quite a bit of things on this vehicle that would mimic a German vehicle.
We're going for a luxury experience, a high-end German luxury experience, I would say, but with Japanese reliability, PT, because this thing never needed to be used. Just like that, everyone, we've got a working audio system in here, and it's playing my favorite Hong Kong pop song, or my favorite band anyway, PT. They're called Beyond. What do you think?
I've never heard of them, but yeah, they sound pretty catchy.
My buddy Turtle got me hooked on this good stuff. That's Kenneth Lau, everyone who knows him from the Honda scene. So before we get copyright claims here, let's mute that, but that seems to be a fix.
Well, there is something I actually got to fix that head unit because I feel bad. It is a crummy head unit. The C-Cane stuff, I've just been educated and I don't think it's a good one. So let me jump in here and I'll show you what I got you.
All right. I like your beige environment in there, PT.
It's very beige.
It certainly is.
I feel very old man. However, the tech in here is about to level up because I'm just done with these C-Cane head units. I noticed this guy, it takes like what, 40 seconds to boot up sometimes.
It is super slow.
The button over here to do the volume, you can't kind of get to. It's a little cumbersome. Like this isn't the proper fitting unit. So I've stepped up my game for you here and did a bunch of research, and this company came up, Atoto, and they've got this unit here, which is a universal head unit, but it's loaded with features and it's got a proper processor, it's got 4G. Most importantly, I think it's going to fit in here really nicely. So let's get this thing bolted up This thing fit like a glove, and the startup time is so much better than before. Let me turn this thing off. Watch this. Watch how quickly this thing will turn on. There it is. That's so good. And you can just tell it's just so much better quality. The cost of this is around, I think, $350 versus the cheap one. And it's just so worth it. Like, watch YouTube. Look how quickly YouTube loaded there. Like, that was incredible. I had this connected. Now it's unfortunately offline, but there's so many cool features on this thing.
It also has a hand gesture feature. There's a sensor here, and it'll allow you to control basic features up to like 23 different hand gestures. Just going through the manual here, kind of learning what some of them are. And one of them is like a circular motion like this. And when I start doing that, you can see it's turning up the volume. And now if I go the opposite direction, it's turning down the volume.
That's
How cool is that?
man.
I feel like a Jedi, like, these are not the droids you're looking for here, everyone. So, wow, that is really neat. And there's also an app here called Z-Link, which will take me over to Apple CarPlay. So now I'm in Apple CarPlay mode, as you can see. And if I swipe here, I've got all my usual Apple apps. If I go to messages, you can see I've been texting with Nico Pasta and Kevin Huth and Ryan Beck. I can go to the next page. I can, I use Overcast for podcasting. So let's, listen to The Adventure Zone. It's a nerdy thing. You don't even want to know what that is. I've just exposed my inner nerd there, everyone. In any case, I got Amazon Music. It's all here. I can look at my calendar, and I could probably operate a lot of this with hand gestures. So I'm going to go deep on this, level up on my Jedi game, and really enjoy this. So well worth the effort, I think, PT. Just the load up time alone is pretty amazing. Well, guys, I've got good news and I've got bad news. Let's start with the bad news, and that is FedEx. You hung us out to dry. We're here, we're waiting. We still don't even have a delivery date on that elbow from Violate Manufacturing. So unfortunately, we're out of time. We're just gonna have to wrap this episode here. So in the next episode, you will see that new elbow go in, and you'll see us fabricate that intake system. And at that point, this thing will be ready to go to the dyno. The other thing I should tell you about before I get to the good news is we've put in a new radiant heating system in here because it was supposed to be much quieter, and it does offer a much nicer heat than our old forced air system, which was super loud, and we'd have to turn it on and off, so we were always fighting that game of waiting for it to cycle off before we could start shooting the video. However, you probably notice these weird noises in the background that kind of sound like someone hitting a gong. That is the radiant heat system like cooling after it's run for a while, and the metal is like contracting as it cools, and it makes this gonging noise. So if you're wondering what that noise is, that's what it is. Our supposedly very quiet radiant heat is proving otherwise, but we'll see if we can sort that out. Maybe there's some adjustments we can make to it.
Or just time.
Yeah. Anyway, the good news is, and I think it's kind of ironic that this showed up from our friends at Valvoline. This is their new FlexFill containers for gear oil. It's actually the #1 gear oil in America, and man, how convenient is it that it comes in this kind of packaging? It's almost like they watched me struggle with that Austin Powers pump and make a huge mess. And they said, here you go, Dave. This is gonna fix all your problems. With, of course, their full synthetic formula, which we know from experience performs incredibly well in street cars and in race cars. We've run this stuff in our FRS for, 5 years now, Pete? And that diff has been bulletproof. So we love this stuff. We know it's really high quality. And now that I can, just fit it into any space and squeeze it out, it should be a much cleaner and easier job. So it comes in two weights, 75W90 and 75W140. And of course, you can buy it at valvoline.com, and I'm sure it'll show up at all your usual sources. So thank you, Valvoline, for sending that over, and thank all you guys for watching. We really appreciate it, and we are super excited to be so close to finishing this build and getting this thing on the dyno. But I think this car might be waiting a little while before your M5 is done over there, PT, because we got some work to do over there, don't we?
We certainly do.
I don't think I have the valve open. That's probably why I'm pushing out the back.
It's still not pushing any fluid out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Remember you said it was like, now you've closed it. No, yeah, keep turning.